Hi, this is Samit. Welcome to TalksonGround. So, this is a continuation of my video earlier on Modi's visit to Ukraine. This was much earlier than the actual visit happened, and I had predicted some outcomes or lack of them. And now the visit happened on the 23rd, finally. Narendra Modi also went to Poland, he went to Ukraine, and now he's back in India. Now, this was a short trip, and I can't say right now whether there were any deals of consequence signed or whatnot. But a lot of geopolitical moves are happening, and as of last night, Israel Hezbollah conflict starting. So it's all happening right now, and it seems India is right in the middle of this with what happened in Bangladesh on the 5th of August. So why 5th of August becomes important is because when India is talking to Russia, when he's visiting Russia, Modi is talking about the oil, he's talking defense, he's talking food trains, trade routes, and of course about the war. But when the security situation in your neighborhood becomes more dire and a regime change has just happened there, the security situation in India turns for the worse. Now, but at the same time, this instability around India's neighborhood has been going on for a while. There's been problems in Maldives, maybe you followed what has happened there. And then there have been problems in Sri Lanka, in Bhutan, in Nepal. And I'm not even mentioning Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, and China. So there's no neighbor or near neighbor around India that has not been touched by conflict, some sort of a civil war, or some sort of a regime change or a war. And at various levels, regional, global, local, and so on. So, in a way, if you think about it, for India, if the Russia-Ukraine war was to stop tomorrow, it will have many ripple effects for the Indian economy or the Indian geopolitical stance. The stress with the West in terms of relationship with Russia would be eased, and surely when the Russians are a bit free from this conflict, they will also have more freedom in choosing their partnership with China. So it has major consequences for India. If this war in Ukraine was to stop tomorrow, India will rejoice. Now the question will be, especially the Westerners would ask me, or would question why would India not push Russia more to stop this conflict. The simple answer is that India doesn't really matter when it comes to the Russian calculus in invading or whatever has happened in Ukraine. Of course, instigated by the actions of NATO under US pressure. But at the same time, there is influence that India wields now because India is buying a lot of Russian oil. But that influence doesn't extend to the point where, Modi can go and tell Putin that, look, stop the war. And Putin will say, yes, sir, it doesn't happen like that, and it will not happen like that. And the West is very well aware, Modi is aware, Putin's aware, everyone's aware. So what's at play? So I think what is at play is that the US elections are going to be held in 2 months' time. Today is 26th of August when I'm recording this. So there's going to be an election within 2 months and 1 week time. So that's not a lot of time. And the moment the elections happen, even though the swearing in happens in January 2025, but the geopolitical chess game would have moved either back to the Trump era or it would continue to be in the current era. Even if it continues to be in the current Biden Barack Obama era, I can call it that, there are going to be changes because surely it will not be about Kamala Harris bringing the change, but the scenario would have changed because a lot of players in the world will use the next 4 months or so before the swearing in happens on January 20th, 2025 to reset some of the things they think they can reset. And I think some of these moves that are happening in the geopolitics right now are really about the US deep state trying to make sure that they don't end up having to clean up a big mess after the swearing in. They would rather have the mess right now and know which player is doing what. And this is my sense of it. It's like a player who's losing a hand and he just throws his cards on the table and the game is over. So it's like a player who kind of thinks that he doesn't have a very good chance. At the same time, the whole push for de-dollarization has taken a bit of a backseat. The oil prices are lower, so that's good for the economy, but the prices are lower because the economy is not doing too well. There are some movements happening in Indonesia, in Thailand. There was a change of the prime minister in Laos and so on. So I do think in the next 90 to 120 to 120 days, there would be a sea change in our geopolitical scenario. We don't know which government will fall, which government will survive, and which new war could start. Will China invade Taiwan? Will it start a LOC firefight with India? Would India do something in Bangladesh? Very unlikely. Will the Israel Hezbollah war extend to Iran? Will Iran do something? They haven't retaliated. All of these questions are there, and then you have the Ukraine Russia conflict. So the Ukrainians had made some incursions and they Kursk incursion and so on, and they made some gains, it seems, and now the Russians are pushing back. Now, what I've understood about this is that again, this is about getting the right play for the negotiating table. And surely, from whatever I saw of the meeting between Modi and Zelensky, it was not an inconsequential trip. It wasn't a trip just because it was scheduled and therefore, India had to show, look, we are neutral and we went to Russia, now we are coming to you. Surely there is a pressure on India to be neutral and not be too much on Russia's side. But I don't think the trip was designed for that. The trip was designed for something else, and I think that is for Indian security. The more India can integrate into the negotiating process, the better chances that we will know what to do next. So this can be one aspect. The other aspect is there could be messages that Modi has brought for to Zelensky, and Zelensky is going to have his own say, and he would have done that, and now Indians can go back and talk to the Russians. So this is another possibility. The third is that the Americans want something out of Zelensky via India. India is supplying a lot of shells to NATO. Would India be willing to do that, especially given the Russia factor? I don't really think so, but then there can be an angle of armaments, there can be an angle of food grains, medicines, and so on. So really, I think looking at the body language of both leaders, I don't think it was a happy meeting. Of course, Zelensky can't be happy right now with the position his country finds itself into. So surely there is a lot at stake for both the countries, for Russia and Ukraine, more for Ukraine than Russia. And I think Zelensky would be aware that any change of regime in the US would really change the game. And for Zelensky, it is important to have someone who can talk to Russia if supposing Trump was to win. Because if Trump comes in, I'm sure the Americans would not be funding the Ukrainians as much as they're doing right now. And maybe we don't know the shape of it, and we don't know to what extent Trump will pull back, but there will be a pullback. So therefore, for his own continuation and to ensure there is more peace, I think Zelensky would need India on its side, and surely not on the opposite side. Even though India doesn't have a military or even a strategic input into this. So in all of these scenarios, I thought the visit to Poland was also very interesting. And on Twitter, I read some very interesting linkages between India and Poland, which I was not aware of. And surely Hungary, Poland, and a couple of other countries are defying the diktat in terms of migrants and in terms of some of the other things that the liberals want them to do. So therefore, I think along with the Russia visit, along with what has happened in Bangladesh, along with the visit of Modi to Poland and Ukraine, the whole geopolitical scenario is now changing. We'll keep a track of all of this, and I'll bring my thoughts to you as soon as I think there's a significant development. But as I said, the next 100 days are very defining. So we'll keep a very close watch on it. So let me know what your views are and comment. And if you liked what I had to say, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with others, and thank you for watching. Good night. Bye.